Fox News confirms a second review of Hillary Clinton's email by two intelligence agencies confirmed that she received classified information on her private non-government account, and the intel was classified at the time she received it. Ken Cuccinelli is president of Senate Conservatives Fund and the former Attorney General of Virginia. How are you, sir, and good morning to you.
Doing well. Good morning.
Yeah, born classified means it was marked originally classified. Am I correct on that?
It doesn't even have to be marked. You know, the whole discussion of marking documents is playing into people's misunderstanding, and it's very cynical. Classified information, whether it's in a document or a conversation or an email, is classified, and the Secretary of State knows that. When we all have a classified clearance, when we have a security clearance, we get briefed every year. We get briefed on all the changes to the requirements and so forth. And she's responsible not just for, of course, taking care of the classified information, not just documents in her possession, but for the whole State Department. And she put out emails to and cables to the entire State Department telling people not to do exactly what she did.
Wow. Let me just slow you down a little bit here. I just want to be clear on this, because she will say consistently it was not marked at the time that she sent or received it. Brad Woodhouse, who represents her super PAC, was on our program an hour ago saying it was not marked. Okay, so Is it marked or is it not, Ken? Help me.
First, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The law doesn't make that distinction. You can have additional charges that she may be liable for because she violates, she shares, or keeps documents that are marked in an unsecure location, in an unsecure fashion. But simple possession on her server in an unsecured location at her house is an offense. And for each one of these emails that we're seeing come out that are classified, that were stored on her server, every single one of those, just possession of them on that server, is a violation of the law.
So possession
is transmission.
Possession is the crime. And you're arguing,
that is one of them, yes.
2 days ago, that you do not need much more than that, correct?
You don't need anything more than that. You don't even need intent. And yet her apology this week showed that she knew about this. She said, well, I made a bad decision. Well, that's her decision. And she's liable for that as well. It's only a question of what additional charges she's liable for.
Okay, and those additional charges, get to those in a moment. But you've defended someone before.
In the military.
On a matter that was similar. What happened?
Well, I had a client who was medevaced out of Desert Storm because of kidney failure. His company first sergeant shipped a bunch of things from the desert, literally, home to him in footlockers. Those footlockers were never opened. Years later, because of another matter, the military police asked to search his house. They did. They found the footlockers, and they contained satellite photos. Simply because the pictures were taken by satellites, they were classified, and possession of those classified photos in an unsecure location, his home, was itself a violation for every single photograph. The military gets charged with this. People in the intelligence community get charged with this. David Petraeus, the list goes on of people who have been charged with this, even if sometimes the federal government goes easy on them. That's a rare thing. And while she was Secretary of State, someone was forced out of the State Department for violations of exactly these kinds of laws.
Well, so for you, it's a clear-cut case. Brad Woodhouse,
yes, it is.
Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. Hillary Clinton said this is always... There is always a debate among different agencies about what something should be retroactively more classified, but at the time there were none. She also gave a few interviews in the last couple of days. She said, what I did was allowed by the State Department. It was fully above board. She said, everybody in the government with whom I emailed knew that I was using a personal email. Is that a defense?
It is not a defense, and that's an excellent question. None of what you just said is a defense. It also happens to be almost entirely untrue, each element of it. At least in some regard. But most critically, it is not a defense. All the kinds of things that you're talking about and that her super PAC guy was talking about might affect sentencing, but they don't affect whether she's actually guilty of the first offense of possessing classified materials in an unsecure location and transmitting them, and she clearly is.
She says, I take responsibility. I should have had 2 accounts. Maybe it's as simple as that. Maybe if the second one said .gov, we would not even be talking about this. Ken Cuccinelli,
That's right.
Thank you for your time out of Washington, D.C. today. Thank you, sir.
Good to be with you.